Picture this. You wake up in a stranger's bed. Not from a wild night out, but because you saved the life of Seoul's most dangerous man. The door? Locked. The window? 3 stories up with armed guards below. Your phone? Destroyed. Your apartment? Emptied. Your entire life? Completely erased overnight. And the man you saved? He's sitting downstairs, waiting for you at breakfast, acting like this is perfectly normal. Welcome back to the Dawn's Obsession, where one nurse's act of kindness became her beautiful nightmare. I'm your narrator, and if you're just joining us, you need to go back and watch part 1 right now, because Yuna's story just went from dangerous to absolutely insane. Let me catch you up real quick. Last time, we watched Yuna's entire world shatter in one night. She was walking home from her shift at Seoul General Hospital when she found a man bleeding out in an alley. Not just any man, someone who'd been shot twice and left for dead. Her nursing instincts kicked in, and she did everything she could to keep him alive, not knowing that decision would cost her everything. Then the black SUVs arrived. Men in suits, guns visible, zero room for negotiation. They forced her inside, drove her to a mansion that looked like it belonged in a movie, and gave her an ultimatum: save this man's life, or face consequences she didn't want to imagine. For hours, she worked frantically while armed guards watched her every move, threatened her, reminded her that failure wasn't an option. She managed to stabilize him, exhaustion finally winning as she collapsed in a chair beside his bed. The last thing she remembered was her eyes closing. The last thing we saw, his eyes opening in the darkness, staring right at her sleeping face. And now Yuna's about to discover exactly who she saved and why her life will never be the same again. Yuna's eyes flutter open, and immediately something feels wrong. The mattress beneath her is too soft. The sheets are too expensive. The ceiling above her is too high. This isn't her cramped studio apartment. This isn't the mansion's medical room. Where the hell is she? She bolts upright, her heart already racing, and takes in the bedroom around her. It's massive, probably bigger than her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows with heavy curtains. Expensive furniture that looks like each piece costs more than her yearly salary. Soft morning light filtering through, making everything look deceptively peaceful. Beautiful, like a luxury hotel room. But Yuna knows better. This isn't a hotel. This is a prison. She scrambles out of bed, still wearing yesterday's clothes, and rushes to the door. Her hand closes around the handle, pulls. Nothing. Locked. Of course it's locked. She pulls harder, then starts pounding on the heavy wood. Hello? Let me out. Someone open this door. Her voice echoes back at her. No response. No footsteps. Just silence. The window. She runs to it, yanking the curtains aside. The view stops her cold. She's high up, 3rd floor at least, looking down at manicured gardens and guards. Men in dark suits patrolling below, some with earpieces, others with visible weapons. One of them glances up at her window. She steps back instinctively. Her breathing quickens. Panic claws at her chest. She turns around, scanning the room for anything, any way out. That's when she notices the attached bathroom. And through the open bathroom door, she sees them. Clothes hanging on the back of the door. Women's clothes. Expensive ones. She walks over slowly, like they might bite. Designer jeans. A cashmere sweater. Undergarments. All in her size. She realizes with growing horror. How do they know her size? She checks the tags. Brand new. Purchased today. Someone went shopping for her. Someone measured her while she slept, or she doesn't want to think about how they got her exact measurements. This isn't protection. This is control. Total, complete control over every aspect of her life. A knock on the door makes her jump. Miss Yuna? A woman's voice, older, surprisingly gentle. Mr. Kong requests your presence for breakfast. Yuna storms to the door, pounding on it from her side. I don't want breakfast. I want to leave. You can't keep me here. A pause. Then that gentle voice again, now tinged with something else. Pity? Miss Yuna, I'm Mrs. Choi, the head housekeeper. I understand you're frightened, but I strongly suggest you cooperate. For your own safety, dear. Mr. Kong is not a patient man, but he's asked nicely. Let's keep it that way. The implications hang heavy in the air. Yuna's stomach turns. She has no choice. She never had a choice. From the moment she stopped to help that bleeding man in the alley, every choice was stripped away. Fine, she says through gritted teeth. I'll be out in 5 minutes. The dining room is obscene. That's the only word for it. A table long enough to seat 20 people, set with actual silver, crystal glasses catching the morning light, and enough food to feed her entire hospital floor. It's a display of wealth so excessive it feels like an insult. And at the head of that massive table sits him. He's cleaned up since last night. The blood is gone. His hair is styled.
Let us give
He's
thanks.
wearing a black turtleneck that probably costs what she makes in a month. And even though she can see bandages peeking out at his collar, and the way he moves carefully, stiffly, he commands this room. Commands this entire mansion. Maybe this entire city. He looks up as she enters, and those dark eyes, the same ones that opened in the darkness last night, fix on her. A slight smile touches his lips. Good morning. Please sit. You must be hungry. He gestures to a chair. Not beside him, she notes. Several seats away, but still far too close for comfort. Yuna doesn't move. I want to leave. His smile doesn't fade. Sit first. Then we'll talk. I don't want to sit. I don't want breakfast. I want to go home. You don't have a home to go to anymore. He says it so casually, like he's commenting on the weather. So sit down or stand there while I explain your situation. Your choice. The way he says it, that calm, absolute authority, makes her legs weak. She sinks into the chair, hating herself for it, hating him more. He waits until she's seated, then speaks. My name is Kong Miho. The name hits her like a physical blow.
Kong. She knows that name.
Everyone in Seoul knows that name. It's been in news articles, always carefully worded, always dancing around the truth. Business dealings. Family enterprises. Suspected organized crime connections. The kind of articles that say everything by saying nothing. Her mouth goes dry. You're the Kong family. The Kong family, he confirms. My father built our organization over 30 years. He died 3 months ago, which created a power vacuum. Several factions within the organization believed they should succeed him instead of me. Last night was an assassination attempt by one of those factions.
He says it so matter-of-factly.
Like he's describing his commute to work, not the fact that people are actively trying to murder him. The men who shot me, he continues, pouring himself tea with steady hands, they saw you. They watched you work on me in that alley before my security team arrived. Which means they know your face. They know you kept me alive. And they will assume you know something valuable. Information, locations, names. It doesn't matter that you don't actually know anything. Yuna's world tilts. So, what are you saying? If you're hooked on Yuna's story and need to know what happens next, hit that subscribe button right now. New parts drop every week, and trust me, this series is about to get even more intense. Miho sets down his teacup and looks at her directly. I'm saying that I owe you my life. You saved me when you had every reason to leave me there. You showed courage and skill under impossible circumstances. I'm in your debt. Hope flares in her chest. Then let me go. I can't. 2 words. They destroy her. The people who tried to kill me, he continues, they're searching for you right now. They've probably already found your apartment, your workplace, your mother's address in Busan. If they find you, they'll take you. They'll torture you for information you don't have. And when they realize you truly know nothing, they won't let you go. They'll kill you to send me a message. The room spins. Her mother. They know about her mother. So you see, Miho says quietly, I'm not keeping you here as a prisoner. I'm keeping you here because it's the only way to keep you alive. What happens next breaks her. Piece by piece, Miho explains how thoroughly he's dismantled her entire existence. Her apartment? His men cleaned it out in the middle of the night. Every piece of clothing, every book, every photograph, all brought here. Her landlord was paid off, lease terminated. Her phone? Destroyed. Too easy to track, too risky to keep. Her job? Seoul General Hospital received a call this morning from a very convincing woman claiming to be Yuna's aunt. Family emergency. Extended leave. So sorry for the inconvenience. Her supervisor believed every word. Her mother? A money transfer arrived in her account this morning, enough to cover 3 months of her medical expenses, with a note saying Yuna got a bonus at work and wants to help. Her mother called the number provided to thank her thoughtful daughter. The woman who answered pretended to be Yuna. Her mother noticed nothing wrong. You can't just... Yuna's voice breaks. You can't just take over my life. I'm keeping you alive, Miho says, still maddeningly calm. Would you prefer I left you to face them alone? Something inside her snaps. She grabs her glass of orange juice and throws it. It shatters against the wall behind him, juice dripping down expensive wallpaper. He doesn't even flinch. Doesn't blink. Just watches her with those dark, unreadable eyes. Feel better? He asks. And that's when she breaks completely. The fear, the frustration, the exhaustion, the absolute helplessness of it all. It crashes over her like a wave. She buries her face in her hands and cries.
Sobs.
The kind of crying that hurts your chest, that steals your breath. She doesn't see him stand, doesn't hear him approach. But suddenly there's a handkerchief in front of her, real cloth, monogrammed with his initials, and his voice is different.
Softer.
I know you're scared. I know this isn't fair. But the alternative is you dead in 48 hours. Maybe less. She looks up at him through tears, and for the first time, she sees something in his eyes besides that cold authority. Regret? Guilt? Something almost human? I didn't ask for this either, he says quietly. But here we are. The rest of day one passes in a blur of surreal moments that feel like someone else's life. Mrs. Choi, that gentle-voiced housekeeper, gives her a tour of the mansion like she's showing off a luxury resort, not a prison. This is the library, over 10,000 books, all first editions. Mr. Kong is quite the reader. This is the gym, fully equipped, personal trainer available on request. The indoor pool, heated year-round. The gardens, 20 acres, quite lovely for morning walks, though you'll need to stay within the marked boundaries for security reasons. Security reasons. Code 4. Try to escape, and we'll catch you. Mr. Kong wants you to be comfortable, Mrs. Choi says with a kind smile that makes Yuna want to scream. Comfortable. In a gilded cage. With armed guards and locked doors, and a crime boss who thinks he's protecting her by erasing her existence. Dinner is somehow worse than breakfast. Same absurd dining room, same excessive spread of food, same man at the head of the table watching her with those calculating eyes. He tries to make conversation. Tell me about yourself. Your family, your work, what you enjoy. Why? Yuna cuts him off coldly. So, you can pretend this is normal? Pretend we're friends having dinner instead of you holding me hostage? I prefer to know the people under my protection. You mean the people you've kidnapped? A slight smile. Semantics. She refuses to answer his questions. Eats in hostile silence. But then he starts talking anyway, revealing things that make her blood run cold. You're 26 years old. You've worked at Seoul General Hospital for 3 years. Your specialty is emergency medicine. Your mother lives in Busan, diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer 2 years ago. Her treatment has accumulated 50 million won in debt, which you've been paying off slowly while sending her money for living expenses. You share an apartment with a roommate named Jisoo, who's currently visiting her parents in Daegu, which is fortunate. She wasn't home when my men cleaned out your things. He recites her entire life like he's reading from a file. Because he is. He had her investigated. Every detail of her existence laid bare for him to examine. You had no right, she whispers, shaking with fury. I needed to know who I was bringing into my home, he says simply. Whether you had family who might come looking. Whether you had connections that could be exploited. Whether you were a threat. And, am I a threat? The question drips with sarcasm. He studies her for a long moment. You're the woman who saved my life when she could have walked away. No, Miss Yuna. You're not a threat. You're an anomaly. And that makes you far more interesting. 2 a.m. Yuna can't sleep. Can't stop her mind from racing, replaying every moment of the last 24 hours, trying to find the decision that led here, the moment she could have chosen differently. She wanders out of her room. Unlocked now, she discovers, though guards are stationed discreetly in the hallway, and finds herself drawn to the library. Maybe a book will help. Anything to quiet her thoughts. But she's not alone. Miho is there, sitting in a leather chair by the window, book in his lap, reading by lamplight. He's wearing a simple white shirt now, and in the dim light, she can see the bandages clearly. And something else, a dark stain spreading across his side. He's bleeding. Her nurse instincts override everything else. Your bandages need changing. He looks up, surprised to see her. It's fine. It's not fine. You're bleeding through. She walks over before she can stop herself. Where's your medical kit? Miss Yuna, it's 2 a.m. Where's your medical kit? She repeats, voice firm. This, at least, she understands. This, she can control. He sighs, gestures to a cabinet. Top shelf. Minutes later, she's carefully unwrapping his bandages, and they're in a position that feels far too intimate for comfort. He's sitting still while she stands close, her hands on his skin, peeling away blood-soaked gauze. The lamp casts warm light across them. The library is silent except for their breathing. The wounds look better than yesterday, but one has started bleeding again. Probably from him moving too much, refusing to rest properly. She cleans them with careful precision, rewraps them with fresh bandages. Professional. Clinical. Except she can feel him watching her face while she works. His eyes never leave her. She tries to ignore it, focuses on her task. Does it hurt? She asks, mostly to break the tension. I've had worse. That's not an answer. A slight smile.
Yes.
It hurts. She secures the last bandage, but doesn't step back immediately. How did you end up like this? The question slips out before she can stop it. Living this life, running a crime organization, getting shot in alleys. Was this always the plan? His expression shifts. Something darker. Wrong family. Right circumstances. What does that mean? He's quiet for a moment, and she thinks he won't answer. Then, my father was Kang Doyan. Do you know that name? Everyone knows that name. Kang Doyan built one of Seoul's most powerful crime syndicates. Brutal. Efficient. Ruthless. He raised me for this, Miho continues. From childhood. There was never another option, never another path. You learn to fight, to strategize, to intimidate, to kill if necessary. You learn that weakness gets you killed. That trust gets you betrayed. That the only way to survive is to be more dangerous than everyone around you. The bitterness in his voice surprises her. This isn't the cold, controlled man from breakfast. This is something more raw. I'm sorry, she says quietly. And means it. He looks at her like she's spoken a foreign language.
Why?
It's not your fault. Because no child should be raised like that. Because you didn't choose this any more than I chose to be here now. The words hang between them. A moment of understanding. Of seeing each other as more than captor and captive, more than crime boss and nurse. Just two people trapped by circumstances neither wanted. What about you? He asks. Why did you become a nurse? So she tells him. About her mother getting sick, about feeling helpless, about deciding that if she couldn't save her mother, maybe she could save someone else's mother, someone else's daughter. About how every life she saves is a small victory against the unfairness of it all. That's why you stopped for me, he realizes. In the alley. You couldn't just walk past someone dying.
No, she admits.
I couldn't. The door bursts open, shattering the moment. A man in a suit, one of the guards from earlier, nearly runs in. Sir, we have a problem. Miho's entire demeanor changes instantly. The vulnerable man disappears, replaced by the cold authority from breakfast. What is it? Security footage from the east perimeter. Someone was watching the mansion. We caught them on camera before they disappeared. Yuna's stomach drops. Show me, Miho stands, movements now sharp despite his injuries. He glances back at her. Go back to your room.
Now.
What's happening? The rival faction is closer than we thought.
His voice is hard now.
They're looking for you. Double the guards. She doesn't leave the 3rd floor until I say otherwise. And just like that, reality crashes back in. This wasn't a conversation between equals. This wasn't a connection forming. This was a momentary lapse in the nightmare that is now her life. Here's what I want to know from you, and comment below with your honest answer. If you were Yuna, could you ever forgive Miho for destroying your life, even if he claims it's to save it? Or are some things too broken to fix? Because here's the truth. Yuna is trapped in the mansion now. The danger is real. People are hunting her. And the only person standing between her and death is the man who erased her entire existence. The guards escort her back to the 3rd floor. She hears locks clicking behind her, hears footsteps patrolling the hallway. And in her beautiful prison cell of a bedroom, surrounded by expensive things bought with blood money, Yuna realizes something terrifying.
This is her life now. For how long? She doesn't know.
Days? Weeks? Months? Until the rival faction is dealt with? Until Miho decides she's no longer useful? Until she finds a way to escape or loses herself completely in this twisted world. She saved a stranger's life in an alley. And in return, he destroyed hers. But he's also the only thing keeping her alive. Is that salvation or damnation? Protection or possession? Gratitude or obsession? Part 2 ends with these questions hanging in the air, with Yuna staring out her locked window at the guards below, with Miho somewhere in his mansion fortress planning his next move, with danger circling closer in the darkness outside. This is the Dawn's obsession. And we're only just beginning. Part 3 drops soon, and trust me, you won't believe where this goes next. Until then, stay safe out there. Because Yuna's story is a reminder, sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is show kindness to a stranger.
See you next time.